As many know, I am not a longtime member of this parish. Though I'm not a cradle Episcopalian, I came here shortly after my marriage more than 52 years ago. And I have not always come every week. My 3 children were baptized here, attended school, church school here, and all 3 of them and their families consider this here their church home. It was mentioned at a vestry meeting not that I've been treasurer for 34 years. Well, that's not really true. I think it's an exaggeration. But this past year was a tough one, and it made it feel like perhaps I have been treasurer for 34 years. St. Andrews has struggled to keep the bills paid, so the vestry meetings haven't always been a lot of fun. I remember as a child when my dad would come home from work, he came home every single day for lunch. Did you know my mother was a saint? Because having a husband who's retired and is home every day for lunch, I realized how difficult it must have been for her. But he'd be later than usual on a Tuesday because he would have gone to the bank to cash his check. So when he came home, he gave all of the money to my mother, and she began putting it in envelopes. There was always an envelope for the church. Then, right after my father came home for lunch, the insurance man came because he knew my dad had been paid on Tuesday and he would get his pay too. I have no idea what my father made then or before he passed away or anything about it, but they gave $7 a week. I remember my mother putting $7. I was just a little kid, probably, I'm going to say over 60 years, oh, Godfrey's, over 60 years ago, they put $7 in an envelope for the church. But that's not why I'm standing here this morning. I've been asked to tell, 1, how is money a spiritual issue for me? Who helped me think differently about money and faith? How does giving reflect my values? Doesn't sound easy, does it? And it isn't. I am blessed in so many ways. My family is healthy. It seems we all still get along, at least most of the time. I have had and still have a lovely home. My husband was and still is a good dad and husband. He's been a hard worker and a good provider. I've worked hard with him to keep things quote-unquote stable throughout all of this time. He's the cradle Episcopalian. Mm-hmm. So how do I answer these 3 questions? Honestly. I think for me that I thank the Lord every day for his kindness toward me and mine. That he has been watching and taking care of us. He found me a wonderful and spiritual home here. He's kept me happy here. I have friends here. This is a friendly parish. Being treasurer has taught me to think differently about the money that St. Andrews has and needs to have to continue to be a spiritual home for those that are fortunate, like me, and less fortunate to those, to be well taken care of as me and mine. I know St. Andrews will be here for many more years. It's not dependent upon my giving. But, and it is a real big but, I give in thanksgiving for all that I have received. I can give because God has been good to me. And I make my own coffee every day. Perhaps this is my sacrifice. If we give what we would spend every day out there, we, especially those who don't make their own coffee, St. Andrews could have a new roof, a full-time minister, and the money in the checking account. Sometimes I put change in my cup holder in my car when I'm just out because I think, well, I'm not going to stop at McDonald's. I'm not going to stop for coffee. I'm not going to go to Panera for lunch. I'm going to put some extra money in my cup holder so that I have it to give on Sunday. I think in the long run, I believe that if I'm good to God, lead a good life, stay true to my friends and family, give generously to the church, He will be good to me. Maybe I have it all wrong. Perhaps I am just God-fearing. And if I do have it wrong, I'll try to give a little more, because here is so important to me. Reverend Beth said that Bishop Tom, God rest his soul, said it was all right to pray for money.
Yeah.
I have prayed at home to pay my bills, and I have prayed here to pay the bills. It's not always been easy, and now here, it's not easy at my spiritual home. I was taught, too, at an early age never to talk about money. Mm-hmm. It's a tough subject. You, my fellow 8 o'clockers, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but money does have to be talked about. I ask everyone to reach deeper, feel the Spirit of God asking. He gives us so much. Thank you.